It's a pleasure to be here, and I was just mentioning to Brian what a major accomplishment for Chinook Country to get this many people in this room for 2 days to give up your time to do this. Absolutely amazing. So kudos to Chinook Country, and thank you to all of you for being here today. So as you can see, I'm going to talk a bit about pricing for the new economy. One of the things that we see is that for the most part in small and mid-sized businesses, pricing tends to be not all that sophisticated. Now, it doesn't mean that people don't get the value and the importance of pricing. The drawback is that to do some sophisticated pricing models takes time, takes analysis, and that always translates into additional dollars. And often small to mid-sized businesses, particularly in the tourism business, run on such tight budgets that you just don't have that extra money available to look at a more sophisticated pricing model. In fact, in tourism, we kind of tend to look at our pricing through a lens, almost like going forward, looking in the rearview mirror. So we know our own businesses, we know how we performed in the past, we know what the market's kind of like, and we set our prices based on that information. It's almost like coming up and saying, okay, I need this much money to go forward. Now, how can I make the number of visitors that I expect to come and then the price add up to that amount? So today we're going to take a look at some basic pricing strategies. We're going to take a look at some trends. And all of this is hopefully going to be grist for your mill so that you can take a look at your prices going forward. So here's what we're going to take a look at today: pricing considerations, trends that are impacting prices, consumer perceptions of prices, and that's a big one, and then price and value, and then finally pricing approaches. I have to say that most of what we're going to cover today is based on best practices. I'm not going to be able to talk specifics about pricing. For one thing, it violates some Canadian laws, and I don't want to do that. I don't want you guys having to, give me the nail file kind of thing in jail. So, but the other thing that's going to be different is that a lot of this information you might have already touched on. You maybe already know, you probably already knee deep in it. But the difference is that we've put this into this particular setting because now you're looking at pricing through a different lens. You're looking at it understanding who your customers are, who your EQ segments are that you want to appeal to or that you are appealing to. So you're going to have that sort of always in the back of your mind as we're going through some of these best practices. So things that you want to consider in terms of pricing. Well, we understand that a lot of the experts in the pricing game today think that we're seeing so much reactive pricing in the marketplace because we're not asking ourselves the right questions at the outset. The revenue requirements, again, going back to very small businesses, it's not uncommon for an expense not to get considered in terms of the overall price requirements. A lot of businesses, a lot of small businesses, forget that they've got to pay themselves first and that their salary, their wage has to be included in that overall pricing. Target market expectations is a big one. And you're asking yourself, are you getting any kind of resistance at the price that you're charging now? But more importantly, I think the question you should be asking is, are you leaving any money on the table? Would your customer have paid more because they value what it is that you're offering them? And then where does the customer position you in the marketplace? Good, better, best. Are you average? Are you above average? Are you the economy line? What perceptions do your customers have of the service experience that you're offering? And then market demand. Have you seen any shifts in what the market is looking for? And are they finding it somewhere else? Could you offer them something that you're not currently because it's in demand, but somebody else is doing it? Your product mix, again, are there things that you should add? But again, ask yourself, are there products that you're offering that aren't selling, that should be just dropped off the menu and allowing yourselves to focus on some other things? Competitive pricing. That's where you're going to look, of course, at how your competition's product compares to yours. And the bigger question is, are you comparing apples to apples? If your product experience is different from your competition, but your consumer perceives it to be the same, then the chances are that it's not a pricing issue that you're facing, but a clarity issue. You need to do a better job in describing what it is that you have to offer so that the consumer understands the difference between your product and your competitor's product. And then finally, marketing concepts. Pricing is a part of your overall marketing mix. Even if you just go back to the 4 basics of product, price, place, and promotion, price is in there. So it's part of your overall marketing strategy and should certainly be looked at in that way. So let's talk about strategic pricing versus tactical pricing. And in very simple terms, strategic pricing is the very long-term pricing approach that you're going to take, where your tactical pricing is the things that you do every day. It's pricing for demand. The one way to look at strategic pricing, and this is particularly valid for smaller business owners, and it's the difference between working in your business and working on your business. And as a small business owner, you spend a huge amount of time working in the business. You're, cleaning the B&B, you're making the breakfast, you're delivering the tours, you're working in the business. And by the end of the day, you don't have a ton of energy left to actually work on the business, to think about where you want to take that business 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road. But that's really where the strategies lie. What are you going to be when 3 years has elapsed? So the purpose behind this one is to say, try and take some time on a regular basis to work on your business. Try not to get so wrapped up in the day-to-day operations that you don't have time to look down the road and really consider where you want to be 3 years from now in terms of your price and your overall business strategy. Here's a great example from Starbucks about long-term planning. So back in 1995, Starbucks had 3 different sizes of coffee that were available. You had short, tall, and grande. Short was actually their lowest producer. So in a strategic move, what they did in 1998 was eliminate short off the menu. But by request, you could still get a short coffee. You just got it in a tall cup. What Starbucks did by eliminating that one size of coffee was to move everybody up the line just a little bit. What it did is it influenced the customers to go middle ground. How many of you, if you see a good, better, best, will opt to go down the middle, no matter what it is, right? I do it all the time. I am such a typical consumer. So what they did was they moved everybody up the line, one nudge. So the grande became the middle of the road. It was top end, now it's middle. The venti, of course, at the top of the line is perceived or viewed to be the premium offer. And so while you may not sell more